We're back. The first Takedown podcast. I'm Alex, alongside a Hunter. Hunter, how we living?
Doing pretty well, man. We're in the dog days of wrestling season now, coming off the high of national duels. So we're getting into this is when it starts getting a little chilly, and where we were wrestling at in North Carolina, it was still a little warm, and then it would start to cool off a bit. So we're traveling to freaking Bucknell in December, or something like that. It's just horrible. So
I always think Cleveland State, because that Cleveland State Open, and I always think about, man, the weather was always so bad when we were there, and it just makes me think of Cleveland as that as a whole, which I don't think maybe it's like that all the time, but just the time that we visit Cleveland was always gross.
Yeah, I remember my senior year. We wrestled Kent State on a Friday night and then drove to Cleveland the next day to wrestle in the Cleveland State Open, which was just horrible. I ended up not wrestling in the tournament. I was like, I got like 4 hours of sleep.
Dang.
I got like 4 hours of sleep. I'm like, I feel terrible. So
no thanks. No thanks. Well, you're right. I mean, last weekend I was glued to my TV like all weekend from the national duels. We talked about it before, how excited we were, and I think it lived up to the hype because there was some really good matchups. We saw some really good young guys. We saw some big upsets, some really close matches, some awesome scrambles, a lot of highs and lows, but just kind of as a whole, I mean, well, first off, amazing job by like Paycom. I saw on Twitter, like people like, I don't even know what Paycom does, but I'm going to go search them now and figure out what they do and see if I can use their business because they were just like pumped at how awesome it was.
Yeah. What's funny is I'm pretty sure my company, we're about to switch all of our HR back-end stuff to Paycom.
Yeah. We should get sponsored.
I had a deal in that. I had something to do with that. No, I'm kidding. No, obviously.
Well,
no one's coming to me for that.
Yeah. Well, talk about, I mean, let's just go. I mean, I don't know if there's too many lows, but just kind of highs and lows of the last weekend, your biggest takeaways.
Man, my biggest takeaway is this event is just awesome. I think it's only going to get better as far as timeline goes. I think from here they can just do even more. I mean, I really do. I'm obviously not looking at the books and seeing what they're kind of generating as far as numbers go, or even if they. I don't really think it's a for-profit event, right? Like Chad Richardson at Paycom is going to fork out this money as more of a donation, it feels like, than it is for some sort of for-profit event. That's not really what it's about. But is it sustainable, right? At the $1 million clip that they're spending, at least just as a prize pool, and then the money that they got to have operating budget-wise just to put on the event. So, is it sustainable? I don't really know, but for the fans' purpose, man, now it's so cool. I really wish it was not on November 15th. I do think it is a kind of a NIT like kickstart to the year in a way. So that part of it is cool. So I'm kind of speaking out of both sides of my mouth here, but just looking at instead of trying to change everything, just looking at it holistically, like it was an awesome event. I mean, the guys wrestled incredible. All the teams put out like their studs. With the exception of I think Ben Keeter was hurt, and I think maybe there was some thought that he was going to go. So he was in the original lineup, and then he didn't end up going. So, man, I mean, I don't really have many more takeaways than it was awesome.
What I think one thing that was cool that I didn't know about ahead of time was that takedown bonus that they were doing, that 10K takedown bonus, like quickest average of, was it 5 takedowns?
Yeah, and I think Ohio State won it twice, something like that. Twice or 3 times or something like that.
Every round, yeah. And I agree. If people sending out hey, we're getting these ranked matchups and we're doing them quick, and then I think I saw somebody was talking hey, the respect for Ohio State that they were destroying Nebraska, and we'll get into Ohio State in a second, but that they put out Feldman against Ferrari, which like we didn't necessarily have to see that, but I'm glad that we saw that,
And then
Feldman
Feldman
got
won.
the
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Yeah, no, I mean, we can just dive into it. I mean, Ohio State looked the class of the tournament all weekend. I mean, they looked awesome in every single exchange, basically, like that they were in. They looked awesome. Every single duel, every single exchange, they looked. I mean, they looked really, really good. They looked like they were prime and ready. And they always do. It's kind of odd. They always perform pretty well at Cliff King, Las Vegas. But it's crazy how that's contrasted because so does Nebraska, right? Mm-hmm. And they didn't look their best this weekend. I mean, that's just all there is to it. They didn't look their best this weekend, and so it'll be interesting to see the changes from what Nebraska, what kind of things that they take back to Lincoln and change and get ready. But we were talking about this before the podcast. We were looking at CKLV, kind of looking forward, and neither one of those teams are on the team list when I go to the website, which I don't know if that's. I mean, look, I don't keep up with every single team in their schedule. That could be a non-news thing for most people, but to me, that's kind of crazy if neither one of those teams is going because they feel like staples of that tournament. They're there like every single year, and now it seems like they're not going to be there. So that sucks. I mean, that's tough, and it goes back to that question. Like CKLV has gotten more popular as like the scuffle in Midlands hasn't, and now you're seeing kind of like, okay, maybe National Duels is pulling away from CKLV.
Yeah, that's true. For the scuffle though, I feel like I've heard. I mean, I remember Scotty talked like Cornell's going back. I thought I think Oklahoma State's going back too. We may. I mean, I know we'll.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if they're sending their full. I'm not sure if they're sending their full team or not on that. I may have to be boots on the ground for that one too. Yeah, I may have to. I may have to get up there to the scuffle. We might have to get up this. You know what's a nice thing that they've changed this year is I think they're doing it on the weekend, so it's on the 3rd and the 4th, not the 1st and the 2nd, like what they've typically done.
Makes
so
it easier.
I may have to get up there to Chattanooga. And go see that. I will also be boots on the ground this weekend at Army West Point for the Black Knight invite. So we'll get to see the Nittany Lions firsthand, see how good that team is. I think they're pretty good. I don't know if they're that good, but I think they're pretty good.
They didn't win the national duels, I'll tell you that much.
They certainly did. No, I don't think they won a match.
No, not even one.
Yeah.
Well, that's because you're going to be boots on the ground for that. Potentially boots on the ground for the mid-season here in Nashville in December. We'll see. Trying to.
Yeah, that one's going to be hard to swing for me. But if you could get up there, that'd be boots on the ground. That'd be awesome.
Then maybe we'll be in Chattanooga too. But the only other thing I think I'd like to hit on for national duels is, well, number one, Ohio State looked phenomenal. Is these young guys that we got to see really like in action for the first time. I think specifically the Oklahoma State young guys and Ohio State. And I remember you were on Ben DeVino a while ago. I remember you talking about, dude, this kid is good. And I think this is my first time.
He's better than I thought. He's better than I thought he was, honestly. Now he hasn't run into. I'm not going to say he hasn't run into the top tier talent. He beat Drake Ayala's ass this weekend, like beat his ass. I'm not going to say he hasn't run into the top tier talent. What I will say is there's so many tricky guys at that weight class, like a Crookham and like a Lucas Bird, who's just super consistent, and like a Marcus Blaze, who looked really good in his debut. And Davino's lost to Blaze the last time they wrestled. So, I don't want to get too crazy about him. It's funny because it's almost like to those two guys, Ben DeVino, and the other one for me is Landon Robidoux, who looks like he could be a national champ. And even Sergio Vega, I will say him as well. It's almost like there's these boogeymen out there that you're kind of like, okay, well, Landon Roberty looks really good, but this summer PJ Duke beat him up pretty good, and Ben DeVino looks really good, but this summer I watched Marcus Blaze beat him up pretty good, and so it's kind of interesting. And then obviously for Sergio Vega, they didn't get a chance to run into each other, but you wish they would have watching him and Mendez wrestle.
Yeah.
And that's something we don't really have to get into quickly, but I just wish we could have seen Oklahoma State and Ohio State. Not Oklahoma State didn't deserve to make it there. Some of their guys at certain weights didn't look great this weekend, and so they didn't deserve to make it there. But I really wish we could have watched some of those matches.
Yeah, they. I mean, think about what there's like 4 freshmen now that are like second in the country of their weight class because of like this past weekend, and still gonna see so many of those good matches coming up. But yeah, those Oklahoma State young guys, I mean, coming out swinging, and like you said, their whole team. I think there was times they're a little bit flat. A couple of the guys that pulled in, like Swiderski and Richie Figs, still trying to, I think, catch a stride. But yeah, that Sergio Vega was one that surprised me, like especially against Brock Hardy, which just seems like a guy that's super hard to score on, and he was just scoring so many points.
4 takedowns.
Like, oh my gosh, that was crazy.
That was bad.
Got LaDarian Lockett, who's now number 2, and you know he had some good up and down matches, but still won like the close ones. And then the one that I was thinking about too. I mean, 149, and I don't want to always bring up Bo Bassett, but like technically, I'm still thinking about like these guys, like the Virginia Tech Nininger and Jackson Joy, like. I think about how bad Bo Bassett beat up Jackson Joy a couple weeks ago. I'm like, geez, if this guy was in college, could he just win a national title right now? But
I mean, if you're asking me the question, I don't know if you are, if you're going to go on to something else. I legitimately think he's the best guy in the country at 149. Yeah. Like if he was wrestling for Virginia Tech right now, I think he'd probably win a national title. And that may be a crazy statement, but like it also, like, you look at the 149 landscape and it's not like you have a Mitchell Messenbrink in there, right? Like, I mean, they pulled Henson out. Obviously, him and Henson are on the same team, so it's not like they would be wrestling anyways. But you pull Henson out, I mean, the 2 best, I mean, the best guy right now is Shane Van Ness, and like we've just seen how vulnerable he can be at times. Even though he's really good, I mean, he's the number 1 ranked guy, but like, I mean, okay, one guy that might be able to beat him, who looked really good this weekend, Caleb Larkin.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at anybody that's beating him, I'm thinking, okay, that guy might just be too much of a man for Bo Bassett right now. But I don't know. I think Bo would be considerably smaller than Caleb Larkin, which I think would be a problem for him.
Yeah.
But he's on the podium. He's top 5 definitely right now, right this year.
Well, in that same vein, we just got another texting group message. I haven't looked at the most recent stuff, but I know there's the rumors of potential Jax Forrest coming second semester. What are your thoughts there? What's like could it happen?
Yeah, I mean, Willie Saylor on his podcast basically said that like that's a done deal. That's happening.
Wow.
And I mean, like he's right there with Marcus and DeVino, I would say. I mean, I don't think that's crazy to say. He made the world team over both of those guys. They were in his bracket, and he was on the world team, and they weren't. So, I think that'd be an interesting wrinkle for 133. That's already like looking to me like one of the toughest weights in the country. It's gonna. Last year, it kind of didn't feel as tough, especially when we lost Crookham.
Yeah.
But like, you basically insert Crookham in there. You already have Bird and Ayala, who've kind of been like the 2 barometers for the weight, and then you bring in Jax, Marcus, and Ben DeVino. It's like, oh boy,
pretty crazy. Last thing on the national duels here. I mean, I honestly not upset that Penn State wasn't there because it, I mean, once Ohio State started wrestling, I was like, oh shoot, I think Ohio State's probably gonna win this thing. But before then, we were like, you said potentially Oklahoma State, I said potentially Nebraska. We don't have to keep that on record, even though we were both wrong. But Ohio, it made it more like competitive, but just because of how much Ohio State dominated. I know they're a really good dual team, but do you think, is there a chance, is there anything, I know speaking way too early, but is there a chance, any like close points in tournament when it comes to March from Ohio State compared to Penn State and closing that gap?
No, and that's okay. I mean, there's not. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
just answer your question pretty blatantly. I mean, like, they wrestled them in a duel last year, and let's think about this. Like, okay, let's just say that Brendan McCrone somehow pins Luke Lillidahl again. Like let's just say that happens. Like, they're up 6-0. Or like, let's say Buzakis tosses him to his back. Right? So, let's just say they start there. Like, okay, Davino, Blaze, let's just call that a toss-up. Mendez going out, you got to hope for bonus, right? Let's say best case scenario, they go out and win the first three. Like, I think they could. Like, they very well could. I wouldn't favor them at 125. I actually think they probably get majored there, but let's just play that game for the case of playing the game. It really, like, 49, like, yeah, Van Ness has been vulnerable. He probably wins, but, like, let's say Styles wins that match, right? Like, okay, you're telling me they've got to take basically 3 matches they're not supposed to take. And then you really get into the best part of, like, Brandon Cannon looked really awesome, but, like, is he going to beat PJ Duke? I don't know about that. 65, Messenbrink by bonus. I know Levi and Carson Hartzler had a close match last year, but I think Levi's jumped levels. He won a freaking world title. 84, Rocco Welsh looks awesome. I mean, he looked awesome in his debut. 97, you've got Barr or you've got Mirasola, which I think is beating the 97 for Ohio State. So, like, they win at least 5 matches, Penn State does, and they probably win more. That's just in a duel. In a tournament, there's no chance.
Yeah.
In a tournament, there's no chance. They just have too many like they seriously need that dual atmosphere Ohio State does to be able to beat a team like Penn State. I still don't think they could, but that's their best shot. In a tournament, there's too much variance between where Ohio State can score. Like, Brendan McCrone could be 2-2. Like, Luke Lillidahl is no less than third.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just kind of like it starts getting away from you really quickly. Like, they scored a ton more points than them at 125 last year, but in the duel, it was 6-0 Ohio State. So it can make a big difference in a tournament. So no, Penn State will run away with it this year and next year. And then, like, I think at that point, if you're Oklahoma State, you've got to start like, okay, our lineup's got to be in a position where we can wrestle with these guys now.
Yeah. Yeah, and potentially Virginia Tech. We'll see. Bring a couple guys in. They still got some gaps to fill, but
yeah, I mean the issue with that is like, yes, I mean, I'm with you. Next year Virginia Tech could have a great team. There's too many like middling. Like, Penn State has mastered having guys all in the top 5. Like, every single one of them is in the top 5, besides maybe Cole Mirasola. But everybody else, like, they're just that team that, like, oh, we're gonna go out and, like, we put 10 on this podium last year. Like, we could just as well do that next year.
Yeah. And it's still crazy to think about just the huge gap that they have, and like you want like, oh, maybe they could close the gap. And I see Ohio State, and I'm like, okay, they've got a really good mix of these old guys that, like for what we'd call, I guess, vets, and then these young guys come in. But it's still, I agree. They're not gonna, when it comes to the tournament, they're not gonna to touch them. And it's
No,
just
and,
crazy.
and
to
they,
think
I
about.
mean, them and Oklahoma State have done the best job of bringing in youngins, having older guys on the team, but also having a youth movement on the team and melding those guys together to really give you your best team. But I mean, as we're seeing, it's a young man's game. I mean,
Yeah.
right now, even more so, it's a young man's game. I mean, these guys are younger and younger coming out and having success in high school, and then they can compete in college like right away, which that was unheard of before. I mean, like guys that had success in high school and college at like a younger age, that just it wasn't really a thing. You had to
Nope.
get into college and kind of have like a year in the room type of deal. It's not
Yep.
really the case anymore.
Nope. Nope. But man, that was an exciting tournament this past weekend. I know we're kind of digging into it, but who? I said last question like 3 times, but who's like your hey? That was. Did you already mention like who your top guy like watching out of that tournament? Like
Yeah, I
that
would
was
I,
awesome.
I would say those three freshmen, Ben Davino, Sergio Vega, Landon Robidoux. I was already impressed with Robidoux and Vega a bit, but they impressed me a lot more. I will say, and we'll get to him in a minute because he's got a big match coming up this weekend. But Dean from Iowa, I
Yeah.
mean, he really looked pretty solid, and there were some question marks about that guy coming in, and he looked pretty solid this weekend. So I think the Hawkeyes got to feel pretty good about having him on their roster and in that 197 slot.
Yeah, and he was multiple NCAA champ from a D3, right? Was it Wartburg? Am I
Yeah.
making that up?
Sorry, my eyes are like twitching. Yeah, I think it was. It was one of the Bergs. One of the Bergs. Something.
One of the
One of the, but yeah, it was. I think it was either JUCO or NAIA, and then he went Division III and won multiple titles, and now he's Division I, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well,
pretty impressive.
let's get into this weekend. I know it's a little bit lighter for like compared to last week, but we've got some matchups, some ranked matchups coming up. Like you said, the Black Knight Invitational over at West Point. You'll be there, boots on the ground, strapped up. But let's see, 125. Let's see a ranked matchup. We've got Jet Strittenberger versus Tyler Klinsky at Ryder. That's 9 versus 21. What you think? Jet takes it.
Yeah, I mean, you would think so. And I mean, I'm curious to see a lot of these teams like this that are starting to get into duels, right? You've got West Virginia, Ryder, teams like that are starting to get into some odd. This is where you get those odd duels, right? Where teams will wrestle in a duel and they're not in conference, so it's just kind of who you schedule and who you can put out there. So, yeah, I mean, I think his battle is the scale, right? Like, is Jet the same guy off the scale right now? And if you're West Virginia, you're probably trying to make sure that you flip for that and start at 33 or 41 or something like that, and then have him be the last one up. So, tough test for a couple guys, right away. I would say Jet. Like, I don't know much about Tyler Klinsky. Like, he's a ranked guy, but to me, like, if you're going to beat a guy like that who's like a blood round guy, like you've got to have all the circumstances on your side. So we'll see what happens there. Some young guys like Barrett Jordan wrestles tonight against Jacob Moran, or is it tonight or might be Sunday? But anyways, Barrett Jordan was a really young recruit, or I mean a really good recruit, young kid who was up at 33 at one point last year, back down at 25 now. So we'll see what comes out of him. He was a tough kid at Graham. So and Moran's just kind of an older guy that's been around the program for a while and done pretty well for them over the past few years. So curious to see that one. I will say one I wanted to mention, and we can kind of skip over.
Yeah.
Sergio Vega's look great. Pearson Manville is a redshirt freshman. Looked pretty good in some spot starts last year. I think up at 49. And I'm curious to see how he looks against Vega. Obviously, Vega would be the favorite there. But curious to see how Manville looks. He's been a name that's been, kind of around and pretty good for a while. Obviously, he's got a lineage of brothers that have been in it for a while. But curious to see how he looks for the Sun Devils. I think they wrestle Sunday.
Yeah, and one I just wanted to hit on real quick too is that Oklahoma State and Arizona State wrestling. I'm interested to see if they'll keep in Richie Figs, but right now it'd be him against Kyler Larkin, the other Larkin brother, and I still think it's a big test for Figueroa because right now wrestling just a little bit flat,
Yeah, I think it'll be. I think it'll be Ramirez. I think Ronnie Ramirez will go. Unless maybe they do like a split. One guy wrestles Friday, one guy wrestles Sunday, because I know they have a doubleheader this weekend. Yeah. But yeah, that's if it's Richie, I don't think you feel great about it if you're Oklahoma State. If it's Ronnie, I think you're feeling a little bit better about it. He's kind of the hot hand right now. But that's not the Larkin we came to talk about.
No.
This Caleb Larkin is a stud. And poor Casey Swiderski, who has just run the gauntlet. He ran a freaking gauntlet last weekend of just close match, close match, close match, close match. Caleb Larkin, here you go. It's like, okay, great. After the All-Star, he looked great against Lachlan McNeil, and now he's just not looked his best. Got majored by Aiden Valencia, looked really bad this past weekend. Maybe he's just going through a funk, but not his best. Not his best.
Yeah, I was wondering that too. If maybe it was just a tough weight cut in day one, but then day two is similar. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, we'll keep on that duel. I mean, that's kind of a good duel for some Ladarian Lockett, who is the number 2 guy in the country now. Like we said, he looked really good this past weekend. He wrestles Nico Ruiz from Arizona State. Nico Ruiz is a tough kid. He was a really great recruit. If people remember this, he had Mitchell Messenbrink on the ropes, and Mitchell Messenbrink's it was at the Black Knight Invite 2 years ago. Now, I know it was his first tournament. I get it. But the guy can wrestle, flat out. He can wrestle. He's really tough. He's gonna give Lockett a match. I'm not saying he's gonna win. I think D is a really hard guy to beat. He's hard to I don't know if you can take him down or not. And so it's going to be a hard match to win, but Nico Ruiz is a tough kid, really tough kid.
You're asking if I could take it down or just in general?
You couldn't take him down.
Both is no, yeah.
Yeah. You couldn't take him down. I couldn't take him down. I think you and I together would have a chance.
Yeah, probably.
But kid's tough.
Well, the other exciting one with some exciting matchups that we'll get into now is that Iowa versus Pitt. Some decent matchups there.
Yeah,
right?
PK and Augustine. Augustine's tough. I mean, he wrestles really solid. Obviously, we know how PK wrestles. And Patrick Kennedy was in a lot of tough matches this weekend. A lot of close matches. He was on the ropes quite a few times. So I'm curious to see how he looks off of a weekend like that. How he looks after, having a bunch of tough matches. Or, do they give him the night off? I don't know, right? Does Gabe Arnold make an appearance at 74 or 84, right? Does he fill in and spot start? We'll see on that one. But, yeah, that's a big matchup. But that's not the biggest matchup. To me, this 197 match is the match of the week. This is the match of the week. It's Max Stout and Dean. And after Dean's weekend, you got to be feeling okay, now is the true test, because he didn't really beat a guy that was, upper echelon, All-American, ranked guy, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be sitting here thinking for him, okay, this is the true test, and Max Stout's the real deal, man. We saw it last year. He ended up placing at the national tournament. He's really solid. He's 4th in the country right now. So true test, biggest match of the weekend is those two guys.
Yeah, that'd be exciting to see, because I was excited because he surprised me this past weekend. So we'll see as he just because he beat Cody Merrill. Cody Merrill, good wrestler, good name to beat. But you're right, those top guys, I think, and I do think now that we're thinking about it, I did want to hit on just the matchups in 184 of the little mix-ups from last weekend. You had Ferrari, you had Sinclair, you had McAnally. that were all just beating each other. Ferrari obviously winning that awesome like scramble against Sinclair, and then Sinclair coming back and beating McAnally on the backside of the bracket, which I'm glad that they got to wrestle too. Just speaks to how crazy we've said 184 is and is going to be probably the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I mean, I think right away you kind of look at like, okay, how does this affect the rankings? Obviously, like your number one guy is going to now be, at least in my opinion, it should be Rocco Welsh or Angelo Ferrari. Like that guy's the number one guy now. And then McAnally would drop because he lost to Sinclair. And then Sinclair, I think you put like right under Ferrari, obviously, because he beat him. So I would probably rank it like Welsh, Ferrari, Sinclair, McAnally, or McAnally. And then it gets really messy because Zach Ryder has taken a few bumps in the road too. When same thing as Swiderski. I tweeted this. Not that I have some huge Twitter following.
Go
Oklahoma State. The Oklahoma State duel with Stanford. They had what was it? 4 guys. Oklahoma State had 2. Stanford had 2 that were in
All-Star.
In the All-Star Classic. I don't know why I couldn't get that through just now. And went a combined 0-4 in that duel, in the Stanford-Oklahoma State duel.
Wow.
So Swiderski lost, Cardenas lost, Hunter Garvin lost, and Zach Ryder lost. No, sorry. Zach Ryder won. Sorry, they went 1-3. I remember I mixed that up. Zach Ryder won, but looked not great. He didn't look very good in his. I thought none of those guys looked great. I'd say the only guy that looked pretty good was Garvin, and he just wrestled a tough. I mean, now we're looking back and we're like, oh, he just wrestled the number 2 guy in the country, right? So maybe that's a little bit. I'm not giving him enough credit, but no, I mean, I didn't think Ryder looked very good, and I didn't think Cardenas looked good. And you know what? Same thing with Cardenas. Like, hey, maybe you just ran into a buzzsaw, and Landon Robidoux just is an absolute banger. But Zach Ryder did. I mean, the moral of the story is he, after his match against Jackson Smith at the All-Star, I'm thinking, whoa, rocket ship, and he has fallen back down to earth. He has not looked good. Him and Swiderski have not looked good, and so. Do they come out of the slump? Is it just a slump, or is this who they are? I don't know.
This makes me feel like we're getting into real sports television because like we were so on him after that All-Star. Zach Ryder, dude, that guy, he came here to play. Like he showed me business. He took it to Jackson from Maryland, and then now this week we're like. I don't know how that guy's going to do this year. Let's hope that he AAs, and like. Dude,
it's sketchy. I mean, it's sketchy. Him and Swiderski, I'm like, oh, dang, dude. Him and Swiderski. Okay, so let's just say that like Zach Ryder, we have the thought of Zach Ryder and Casey Swiderski after national duels, like where they're at after national duels, and we're thinking like, oh, they're a top 3 guy in the country, right? If then you told me that these freshmen were going to do what they were doing for Oklahoma State, plus that, I'd be like, oh boy, like cowboy up, like it's time.
Yeah.
But there has been some vulnerabilities in this lineup, and it hasn't looked great. I mean, Spratley took that loss to Dean Peterson. I'm like, dude, that's a match he wins. Like,
yeah.
You're on the edge. You have the leg. Like, just hold on to the leg. Mm-hmm. Figs hasn't looked good. Like it looks like they're going to have to roll with Ramirez. Swiderski hasn't looked good. Facundo, I mean, I know he had a gauntlet this weekend, but like he only won 1 match of those matches. And granted, it was a big win. It was against Minto. But he took some bumps this weekend, right? So, and then Zach Ryder, and then Cody Merrill. It's like they just haven't looked like they've really put it together, the whole lineup. And so, it's early days, but the freshmen look awesome. Some of the other guys, I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah, it's interesting. It'll be cool to kind of watch the rest of the season, see how they.
And that was Oklahoma State Fan Corner. Thank you. Thank you for attending.
Hey, real quick, coming to Oklahoma State.
Yeah. That was the Fan Corner.
We have that every episode a little bit, so,
yeah.
This is the segment. Yeah.
That's right.
But just goes to show, it's early in the season. Lots to be said. Ohio State looks really good right now. Are they going to keep it up? Nebraska's got some gaps to fill.
Yeah.
But still really good. They usually finish the season strong. But it's November still. We're about to have Thanksgiving next week.
Yeah, and it's going to be a little light this weekend and next weekend with Thanksgiving, and then we get into CKLV right after that. So we'll have a lot to dig into after CKLV and kind of look at the dual season, that it looks like the landscape of December and scuffle, and then we get into, conference dual season, which is my favorite time of the year. Conference dual season's awesome. So
yeah, it is.
Exciting times ahead.
We're in it. Well, Hunter, you got anything else? I mean, I think, like you said, exciting times ahead.
I think we covered it, brother. I think we covered it for now.
Well, I appreciate you guys tuning in. This has been the First Takedown podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go follow on Instagram. Retweet, read story. I think you can repost stuff on. You can repost stories now, or not stories. What's the thing? I think you can repost reels. That's what I meant to say. You can repost reels.
Yeah. Hopefully, people. Maybe one person out there will do it. That'd be great.
Yeah.
We need to get another interview soon, and
yeah.
I know. I mentioned to you, I'm gonna maybe reach out to a few contacts, see what we can get. So
see, Mike Chandler's been working out Young Guns Nashville for getting ready for RAF. Now, I don't know about that one, but we'll. He's good.
That'd be a fun one.
Excited.
I have a lot of questions for that one.
Yeah, well, excited for him next weekend, and he's got Chad Mendez and that RAF that we don't hit on as much.
Just
We're in
ask
the
him.
season,
Just ask him really quick. Just Mike.
Hey, Mike. Yeah.
I do a small podcast trying to grow the numbers. Can you take us to that next level?
Yeah. Hey, all the other hundreds of podcasts that you do? Can I add one more to your plate?
Yeah. I promise it'll be 45 minutes and you're done.
Yeah. Tune in wherever you're at. But anyways, well, yeah, we'll keep it going. We'll get some more guests on as we go. Hey, maybe we'll get a wrestler on, like a current wrestler. Do you think you can do that?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Work on it.
We'll see. All right.
Work on it. Current wrestler.
Yeah.
I'll try.
Like it.
Bo Bassett. Come on.
What's he doing? He's training with Jordan Oliver, also wrestling in RAF.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys listening. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
Bye.